Hey, what's up everybody? It's Cat from the Monkey Making Misplaced channel here with another deck profile. Today we'll be profiling Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion, another encounter deck from set 11. Pretty cool deck. It likes to bind stuff, hit the entire front row, lets you get up to 5 attacks, which I'll show you how later. But first let's just go through the right line. Obviously with the basic starter, doesn't really matter. The grade 1, Red River Dragoon, when he's rolled upon by the grade 2, allows you to search for Eternal Thunderbolt, a card we will be discussing later. The grade 2, Thunderstorm Dragoon, when he's written upon by the grade 3, allows you to look at the top 7 and get a Narukami type card, or Eternal Thunderbolt. The grade 3 though, the main boss himself, the giggest of all Chads, Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion, you can counterblast one once per turn, choose 2 of your units with Narukami in their clan, and get them +5. And then when he would attack, you could choose 2 unit circles, and he'll also hit those as well, which is really cool. Allows you to destroy the front row, destroy boosters, really funny. And then if you play the order, it binds them instead, so it gets rid of utility pieces and stuff like that. His other ability, at the end of battle he attacked, if you played a normal order this turn, you can discard a card if your opponent's life is 4 or less, and you can just deal them 1 damage, which is classic Vermillion vibes. A lot of people who played him before should know about that. It's really funny to hit him to 5 and when you're going for your 4th and 5th attack to potentially kill them. But that's it for the right line. For grade 3s, obviously we're playing 3 more Vermillions. As we said, his abilities are really good, and to supplement that, we're playing the Cup. You don't have to play this Cup. We're playing 3 Thunderbolts. This could be the 4th, but sometimes you just want that Persona ride if the game gets a little too long, or you just don't have Thunderbolts. This allows you to still hit numbers anyway, but it's definitely a cuttable card if you don't want to play it. I've been liking it, but again, I could see people definitely cutting this card. For the other grade 3s, we're playing this little drill dinosaur dude at 4, Excavation Dragon, something, I'm not going to read that. At the end of the battle, he attacks. You can put him into the soul, choose one of your rearguards, and it gets +5, which is really cool in this deck because you want to open up the rearguard circles for Phoenix. And the fact that he can swing, put himself into soul, which feeds the cost to Phoenix, already really good right there, and then it gives your other rearguard +5, making that number bigger. We were trying to find cards that did stuff like this, utility pieces. We have another card here like Ethan that we're currently not playing, but he gets a counter charger, definitely a card you could play. But we liked him because he allows us to hit numbers, he's a big boy, and gives us soul to use. Now we're the main order itself, Eternal Thunderbolt. Now this is an order that is extremely good. Ezel should have got something like this, and they didn't, because this card, not only can you play it from hand, but you can also bind it from drop to play. So essentially, by playing 3 copies, we're actually playing 6 copies, which is absolutely insane. I love this order to pieces. I cut 1 of it for the Cup, but again, you could easily put this back up to 4 if you so choose. I've never needed more than 3, because again, this is technically 6, which is insane. But let me just read the card real quick. Again, I already read the first part, but what he allows you to do, you can give it your Vanguard the ability that whenever something gets retired, it gets bound instead, and if your opponent's front row is empty, it gives your whole front row +5. That is really good. It's a mini Persona ride, or it just makes your Persona rides bigger, and this deck can hit numbers even if you don't hit Persona ride. Because we also, going on to the grade 2s now, play 4 Dread Scythe. This card is really, really good. He gives himself +5 if the front row is empty. So with the order, that's +10. With Persona ride, that's +20. And with Kaiser's effect, that's +25. This guy's hitting 35 by himself. And that's not all he does either when he attacks. If you have a Vanguard with grade 3, Narukami in his clan, you can Soul Blast 2 to either retire something or draw a card. So it allows you to see more cards. It gets cards off the board. Helps facilitate the chicken. This is the only grade 2 we play, but this is the only grade 2 we need. I really, really, really like this card. You can maybe play other cards, like again, I showed you Ethan, but I've been really liking this card. Now the true MVP of this deck, next to Kaiser, is Rising Phoenix. If you played Vanguard at all, you either love this card or you hate this card. He just always seems to find himself in the meta. He always seems to find his way to come back. He is the Phoenix after all. When a card is bound, you can Soul Blast 1, to call him to a rearguard circle. Doesn't even have to be empty. We just like to enter the circles because it gives you more cards, again, like utility pieces, like the grade 3 dinosaur I showed you where it puts some of the soul, which pays for this cost. You can also retire him, choose one of your units and it gets +5. So that's how you can put him in the drop, but it also just combos really well with this dude. Crimson Scale Swordmaster something. I ain't gonna read that name. At the end of the battle, this unit boosts. If any player's rearguard was retired this turn, you can bind him face down and draw a card. Key, any player's unit being retired. That's what Phoenix does. He retires himself, which procs him. At the end of the battle, he boosts, he binds himself, and he only cares if a card got bound, which procs him. These two cards work so well together. Leo's the one who figured this out. I don't know if any other people are playing this combo, but honestly, these two just complement each other insanely well. It lets you hit the 5 attacks really easily, even if your opponent has no front row, which was one of the issues we were seeing, because he's going to be playing Tamiyura. You've probably seen that deck list already. And we were worried because Tamiyura's whole thing is putting the units back into soul. We thought this would be extremely unfair, making Dragonic Kaiser only a 3-attack deck, but because of these two cards in the same deck, it makes it a 5-attack deck almost pretty much regardless. I highly recommend playing both these cards in the same deck. Maybe you can mess with the ratios, but we're playing them both at 4 so that we can really hit that 5 attacks consistently. The only other grade 1 we play, and he himself is also interchangeable, is Orlando. He is really cool though. In the soul, if your rearguard was retired this turn, you can counter +1 the column to rear. That doesn't matter. That effect practically doesn't exist on this card. The second ability, when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard attacks, you can put him into soul and choose on your Vanguard and it gets +5. That is the only thing we care about. Again, it clears the board, it gives us soul for Phoenix, and it just makes Vermillion 5k bigger. If you have 2, that's 10k. If you have 3, that's 15. Allowing the Vanguard to hit pretty strong numbers. We just really like him, again, for the soul and just the power. Interchangeable. Again, you could probably play Ethan. You can play anything else that you like. As you notice, we weren't playing any of the ride line cards in the main deck. We just didn't think they were strong enough. Especially with the cards we are playing, we think those cards just help the deck so much more, giving the deck more power and more pressure. But let us know what you think in the comments. Maybe you guys have found some cool cards to play. 4 PGs, pretty standard. We haven't found the structures, but if you found one, this would be the Blitz, of course. Nothing much to say about the PGs. For the triggers, we are playing 7 crits and 4 draw. We're doing this because this deck is, again, very piece reliant. You want to see a lot of those pieces to get the 5 attacks, which is why we're maxing on the 4 draws. You could play fronts if you so choose, but since we're not really relying on that because we get good numbers anyway, as you saw with the order, persona writing, and how the units themselves get power, we weren't really too worried about fronts. So 7 crit to just help us pressure our opponent, and the draw just to see more cards. You could play fronts, but personally we tried it and we just like the draws better. Of course, 4 heals. As always, we just use the vanillas. You can change 2 out for whichever fits your meta better. Personally, I just like the vanilla heals because he's a little cute boy. He's adorable. And OT to win games. We were thinking if any of the other OTs could work, but the red OT is just this, but weaker in Dragon Empire. And since this deck is piece reliant, maybe the blue OT. We didn't really test it. I just prefer this OT. I just like resetting the Vanguard to get more pressure, but you guys could definitely try it out and let us know if it works out. But yeah, that's the deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you on the next one.